better anything, better shopping.
A better shopping experience. So if you're just joining us, my name is Marc Reece. I am the Digital Marketing Director for Copen's GoldenEye Infinity Smart Screen. And today, I have the absolute pleasure of talking to a man who I would refer to as the Bill Gates of AR and VR.
Wow.
You got some big shoes.
Wow. Those are big shoes.
Real big shoes. But you know what? I say that in all sincerity because what you are doing and the word that you're spreading, and you're spreading the love, and you're educating people, and you're kind of making yourself very synonymous with AR, VR technology, not to mention what you're doing with MetaVRse and really, really cool stuff. So Alan's the CEO. So yeah, well, I want to, this is our second round doing this, and we have a better.
The other one had some glitches.
Like a whole hour. But so if you don't know, Alan is the CEO of MetaVRse and global leader in XR technology, virtual, augmented, and mixed reality for print, retail, and commerce. Alan is a LinkedIn. If you haven't connected with him on LinkedIn, you should, because he really is a VR and AR thought leader. Specifically, if you're in the space or thinking about the space, Alan can share some great insight on LinkedIn, and you can find him there. And I'll post the link in the notes section in this video that's going to go on YouTube. And MetaVRse is also building the first XR learning center and was recently accepted into the Museum Future Accelerators in Dubai. And he's also the inventor, which is really, really cool, of the world's first touchscreen DJ system called Emulator, used by Linkin Park. In the end, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I got to hang out with Mike Shinoda, really cool guy. Mike and the DJ guys, I got to hang out with the guys for a bit. It was really cool guys.
That's very cool in and of itself, just being with the band.
It's funny because I don't get starstruck much because, people are just people, right? You just, I'm there to help them. But I actually got to meet Armin van Buuren, and as a DJ for 20 years, that was like the moment where I was shaking and, oh my God, here's this guy that I've looked up to my whole life, and it was pretty cool. And what I realized, and this is universal, and everybody at that level is really hardworking people. At the highest level, there's no way you get there without working your ass off. And Armin van Buuren was backstage working on his radio show. He would take 2 minutes, go out, introduce the next act, come back in on his radio show. While he's doing his radio show, he's preparing for his live set all at the same time. Like these people, and Mike Shinoda and the team from Linkin Park, they're just consummate professionals, and everybody at that level is just working flat out all the time.
Yeah, they really are. And a lot of them are really nice people too. Like they don't, super nice. I met Keanu Reeves years ago in Chicago in front of the Metro when he was with his band, I think it was Dogwater. And we literally bumped into each other. He wasn't paying attention and I wasn't paying attention. I'm probably 3 feet taller than he is, right? I'm 6'4". And it was just like, I got a chance to talk to him for a minute when I realized who he was. It was just like, he was just like, yeah, cool, man, I'll talk to you. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about our claims to fame. I want to start out talking about you had what I want to do eventually one day is you did a TED Talk, right? TEDx.
Yeah, I did my first TEDx talk. Actually, I wore this jacket and it was 2 weeks ago, and this was in the pocket, the stickers from the event. And that's very, very cool. I think that if you ever have the opportunity, and this is what I'm talking about, you're building this thought leadership. Can you talk a little bit about what you spoke about and kind of teach it a little bit? Absolutely. So the talk was called The Marriage of Education and Technology. And the fundamental premise of it is that we're entering into an exponential age of humanity where we grew very, very quickly, but very steadily over the last 100 years, 150 years. And it slowly started to accelerate. And we're just about to hit that point where technologies like, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, quantum computing, virtual and augmented reality are all coalescing at the exact same time. And when they all come together, you have this kind of inflection point where everything goes straight up. Population's going straight up, everything, consumption, power consumption, everything in our world is going straight up. And so what does that mean in an exponential world when our education systems were designed for linear growth? That was the whole thing. And the idea is that
if we can train people in the fundamentals of success through gratitude, mentorship, and purpose, if you can instill those three things and create a mindset around doing everything you do in a socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable way, the only way to do that at scale, in my opinion, is using technology. And so how do we use technology to instill gratitude, purpose, mentorship, and then do so in a socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable way? And if we do that with the next generations of people, then we'll have a much better world moving forward.
I like what you talk about gratitude, because I think that's often kind of well overlooked. I don't think, I think literally, if you ask somebody what they're grateful for, and I did this the other day, I don't know. Well, how about just being able to get out of bed, right? You know?
Yeah, here's something that I went through. I went through some challenges a few years ago. I lost my company and went through some hell. And the one thing that kept me going and sane was that I write a gratitude journal every morning. And I write 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I'm grateful for the fact my dog snuggles up next to me. I'm grateful for my kids to have warm clothes. I'm grateful that I have heat in the house. And it's hard to be angry or upset or, mad at the world when you're grateful. So it really is.
It's I'm grateful for the ceiling. And my wife said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "I woke up and I got to look at the ceiling." You know what I mean? Like,
I have a roof over my head. And it's funny that you say that, because my basement flooded on Monday. And so we've been dealing with ripping out the whole basement, and I'm grateful it wasn't the whole house.
and again, that's what it's about. You always have some, because even though your basement flooded, you still have more than somebody else,
Yep.
right? And so, yeah, it's very interesting. Well, congratulations on the TEDx talk, and I look forward to actually seeing it online. And I'm pretty sure you'll be promoting it.
You won't be able to go on LinkedIn without seeing it.
Right on. So I want to talk a little bit about, I had the opportunity, actually we met at Copen's party in Vegas at CES.
Yeah, great party, by the way. For those of you listening that are going to CES next year, I hope Copen has this party, but it was awesome. The food was great, but really what it came down to is the people that were in the room were all so passionate about AR and VR and the future of computing, and the conversations I had in that room were absolutely way better than any ones I had on anywhere on the floor. So really great.
What was great, I think what was great about it for me is we invited 1,000 people. Like, we just send out, in the marketing, we just send out crazy amount of invites. And
I didn't get an invite. I cracked the party, just saying.
Well, we're glad you did. But here's what was interesting about it is I didn't know what to expect, right? And they're always asking us. They were always asking us, like, how many people are coming? So we sent it out, and literally within the first 15 minutes, we had 200 RSVPs. We actually had 765 people RSVP for it. So it was.
How many people did you have come in?
I want to say we had close to 630 people actually show up.
That's insane. It was packed in there for sure.
Yeah, and what I liked about it was I had the opportunity. Well, I was obviously representing GoldenEye, but as I was walking around, you literally had the opportunity to just go up. Like, I went up with you. I went into the back room and I was talking to your CTO, Will, and we were having an AR conversation. And I didn't know who you were at all. And he goes, "Hold on a second, I got to show Alan this." He goes,
so cool.
He goes, "Alan's really cool. He gets a lot of people to look at our stuff on LinkedIn." I'm like, "All right, cool." And then you and I started to talk, and that's what was nice about it was it was very industry driven. But these people that were there were like people you would never in a million years have the opportunity to connect with, talk with, network with, and so it really was. It was a pretty awesome event. I'm glad that you agree.
I have to say, the one thing that stood out to me, I made a list of all the things that I saw at CES, and then you can go on LinkedIn and you can find it. But one of the things that you blew me away was the demo you did for me with the what is it called? Whisper?
Yeah, our Whisper technology. Technology, yeah.
Well, I can tell you, for the people listening, it's built into the headset. So you've got, microphones built into the arms of your glasses, whether you're a worker or whatever. And one of the things that I thought, was amazing is that you were telling me how to navigate the AR system through voice, but you were saying, okay, select this, and I would say select this, and it would pick up my voice, but not your voice. Which, imagine in a loud industrial situation where you need to have a heads-up augmented reality, and you need to use your voice as the command center. Well, you can't be picking up other people's voices, and your technology is going to be in every set of AR glasses in the world because it's so precise and so perfect. The other demo that I went to after we met was you had two speakers blasting ambient noise at your head, and it was still able to, using a whisper, literally whisper control the glasses. And I mean, imagine you're sitting in a meeting or something, and you got your glasses on, and your computing's up in front of you, and you want to use voice recognition to activate something. Well, you can't blurt that stuff out in the middle of a meeting, so you can whisper to it, and it picks it up. And that, to me, was amazing. It was one of the best pieces of tech I saw of all of CES.
Our CEO, John Fan, he's a big believer that voice is really going to be the new touch. And
it already is. Like, you got Google Home and Alexa, but they're able to, like today I did a presentation for 500 kids, and actually in this room.
Nice.
So I'm just hijacking this room, but I did a presentation, and during the presentation I said, "Hey Siri," and a bunch of people's phones lit up, and I said, "Hey Google," and a bunch of people's phones lit up. Well, that in the workforce, when you have these glasses on, it's only controlling your device, because you can't have other people controlling your device in an enterprise situation. It's not useful.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because we had a wow moment earlier that evening, and the suite we were in, the decibel level, I think actually reached 130 decibels at certain points. So it was really
loud.
And to put that in perspective, 95 decibels is a jackhammer, right? So if you're standing right next to a jackhammer. So, and
it was alcohol. What can I say?
And I gave him a demo, and he was literally blown away. And this is what he said. He goes, "The biggest problem we have right now with our device, which will remain nameless, is that if somebody's working and they're across the room, or even they're a foot away from me, they say a command, mine responds. And with Copen, just so people understand, I was standing right next to you, and I would be like,
a foot away from me, telling me the commands, and I didn't put two and two together until you said me, by the way, I just said the command and it didn't pick up my voice. It only picked up yours. And that's when I had the light bulb moment. I went, oh, okay. So, I mean, without beating a dead horse, that whisper technology will be in every pair of AR glasses, period. Like, your licensing team should get on that.
I agree. I agree, and it's really perfect for a lot of the field service and manufacturing, where you really have sensitive. We've been talking about having sensitive information, and just the ability to. The problem that people have with voices is still unnatural, because they still want to touch, and you have to know a certain command set. With GoldenEye, it's very, very simple, and it's very.
So these are the North Focal glasses.
Oh, those are very cool.
So they are a full AR glass with a monoscopic display, and the control device is a little ring.
Okay.
Like a little, put it in your finger, and it's like a little thumb joystick. So when I got to turn them on, but turn it on, and then my notifications come out about maybe 18 inches from my head. This little display comes up. But imagine, if I didn't have this ring, I could just talk to my glasses, and it would, show me my messages. Okay, respond. And this one has microphones built in. It's got little microphones, but not the same. And it does pick up ambient noise. So you can actually control Alexa through this as well. So, anyway. And
you look very handsome in those too, by the way.
They look like regular glasses. So we're very close to having AR glasses that meet the needs of people, every day. This is very close. These are very close to what everybody's going to wear on a daily basis.
What about AR contacts? You think?
My guess is we'll have brain-computer interface long before that.
Really?
Yeah. AR contacts is hard, because how do you power them? How do you deal with them? How do you manage the data transfers? Mainly, how do you power it, right? Like, can you, there's some research into powering using the saline solution in your eyes, using the salt differential and stuff. The amount of power that would be required to have a display on top of your eyes is more than you can stick in your eyeball. What I think will probably be more likely to take place first is bionic eyeballs. So basically replacing your eyeball, attaching a fake eyeball to your optic nerve, and now you have a camera with. Imagine if you had the same camera as your phone, your eyeball.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's
in one eye. but it'll be people that that maybe lost an eye or lost vision or whatever. They'll be able to replace them with these bionic eyeballs. I think that's step one, and then those bionic eyeballs will get so good that maybe people just purposely replace them.
While we're on the subject of eyes, let's talk a little bit about Google Glass for a minute, because when I talk to people and when we're talking to people in the industry, they always go back, well, Google Glass. And a lot of people don't realize that Google Glass has kind of been relaunched and they kind of...
Google Glass was what, 2012?
The original one.
Yeah, 2012. So first of all, it was way too early. The world wasn't ready. Second of all, it was ugly. And third of all, Google marketed it to the public. And the problem is, if they had marketed it to enterprise and just solely focused on enterprise, which is exactly what they're doing now, then it probably would have been a success. But even then, I think it was just too early. And Google Glass is being sold right now, and it's very similar to some of the devices that Copen's making. With I think, do you guys even make the Google Glass insert? But the inserts that you make for the glasses are very, very similar. Heads-up display.
Yeah.
Very useful in situations like I'm a hydroelectric worker. I'm up on a pole and I need to pull up some information. Well, I need my hands for stuff. I need to be able to focus, and I just need the information. I can't be holding a cell phone out hanging from a tower. It doesn't work. So just being able to see the data up in front of me is very vital, and that's where something like this. Obviously they're going for a different look. They're going for the fashionable look, but being able to pull up my messages and my information, turn-by-turn directions, that type of thing is very handy. And Google Glass serves that really well, and they're really focused on the enterprise market now.
So in terms of enterprise and consumer, which one do you think wins, right? Which one is really going to adopt this technology faster? You think it's going to be enterprise, or you think it's going to be
100%? Enterprise is already adopting VR across the enterprise. Walmart's rolling out VR in, I think it's 2,000 locations or 10,000 locations. I don't know. They're rolling out VR training across their enterprise. Boeing is rolling out AR, See What I See, remote assistance across their enterprise. Companies like Upskill, where you can give people a pair of glasses, and I know some of the glasses that they use, Vuzix, Blade, and some of these, and there's parts from, Copen makes, just so people are watching, Copen makes the actual optical projectors and glasses for these. And so, having all these different types of glasses for See What I See training, remote call-in assistance, for on-the-job training, like the workforce is starting to retire. How do you, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Yep.
Yeah, the workforce is coming, retiring, and we need to be able to train people on the job. And these glasses will give us superpowers to do that.
I think as I talk to enterprise clients, I think that's the biggest use case, as we see it, as I see it anyways, for the glasses, especially GoldenEye, is the you see what I see, the remote expert, because you've done is you've kind of cut down the training costs. And now, Alan, if I'm out in the field, I literally can virtually have you see exactly what I see and then walk me through. It
also extends the life of your field experts. So when you have an expert who maybe has reached 65 and wants to retire, well, they're not dead, they're not useless. These people are really valuable resources to an organization, but maybe they're sick of being on the road 100 days of the year, and they just want to be in an office and be with their family. So maybe you can give them the opportunity to serve younger field workers who love the challenge of traveling around the world. As you get older, the less business travel you want. But when you're younger, it's like, yeah, fly me all over the world, let's go. And being able to send that youth and that vitality out there, but knowing that you have an expert that can tap into them and provide them the information when they need it. And one expert can serve many, many people, right? So I think See What I See is a definite winner across enterprise. So to answer your question, we took a roundabout way of doing it. Enterprise will lead augmented reality, period, and virtual reality, in my opinion, anything outside of gaming. And then probably my guess is 6 to 9 years, we'll have a really robust ecosystem of products for the consumer. And I'm guessing consumer-based AR is going to be 6 to 9 years out for mass adoption, which is 100 million devices or more.
So where are we at right now? Are we here? Are we here? Where are we in that?
we're at base camp of scaling the mountain. We're right as the mountain starts to go from kind of the foothills and it's starting to go up. We're right at that point, and I think it's going to be in the next 20 years, but within the next 10 to 20 years, somewhere in around that number, everything goes straight up, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. You think about it this way: 10 years ago, there were no app developers, right? We didn't have smartphones 10 years ago, 11 years ago, we'll call it. 11 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. So in 11 years, how many app developers are there in the world right now? Millions? Millions, right? Like millions of people are making apps, and there's a million apps a day being made. It's nuts. So that is a completely new job category that didn't exist 11 years ago. What's going to be in 5 years is, VR developers didn't exist 5 years ago. Now it exists. AR developers didn't exist 3 years ago. Now it exists. So we're coming into new technologies, and they're coming into existence faster than our existing education systems can prepare people for. So that's my biggest challenge in my brain is how do we fix that? How do we educate people for a world when you no longer get a job and work there for 30 years? You're lucky if you get 5 years out of a job, and the companies are lucky if they keep you for 5 years. So how do you prepare people for a constant evolving education in their workforce?
What's even more interesting about that, we talk about the app development, is you have kids, and maybe it's just me, I could be dead wrong, maybe because I'm now 50 and I'm old.
Whoa. Not far behind you, man.
Well, I'm not as young as you.
I earned these.
Yeah. But I seem to think that app developers are getting younger and younger and creating better technology than people that have been in the field for a long time. And they're kind of making their way right now. And you're saying, I could literally in the future see you might hire somebody that's 13 or 14 years old.
I'll put it in perspective. So I'm a mentor at a group called TKS, the Knowledge Society. And TKS is a conference that happens once a year, and they invite 400 students. The students have to apply to be part of it. And it's a conference, one-day conference. And this year was Tesla, Google, NASA, Microsoft, and they talk about everything from blockchain to VR and AR to AI. And then what they do is they take the top 50 of those kids and they work with them every single week to do whatever they want to do. So one kid, actually I was on stage with him this morning, and also we did a TED Talk we were on the same stage 2 weeks ago. His name is Ian. He's 15, and his focus is on preventative healthcare and creating genomic sequencing for preventative healthcare. So if I'm able to sequence your genome, I can tell you what medicines will work better for you. I can tell you what foods to avoid. I can tell you what exercise regime is perfect for you, and personalized medicine to keep people healthy rather than to treat them when they're sick. This kid's 15 working on this. There's another kid we sponsored 2 years ago when he was 13. His name is Sabarish. Sabarish is now 15, I guess, 15 or 16. And he's working on AR navigation. He's created a company doing AR navigation. He worked a summer at Microsoft last year, and I think he's working with Microsoft still. And so he's 15. The difference is these kids grew up with the technology in their pocket. We grew up, we didn't have computers. Like I remember my first 286 had, I think it had 100 megs of RAM, 100 megs of storage, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. And I remember seeing in the back of a magazine that had all the computer parts, and I remember seeing a 1 gigabyte drive. I was like, whoa, why would you ever need a gigabyte of storage? And the SD chip in my phone, Samsung just announced a 1 terabyte SD chip. Like, come on. When you grow up with things like these glasses and this phone, your brain is wired differently. And so that's why developers are getting younger and younger and younger. And if we can harness that energy and give them more of what they want. We put it this way. And one of the lines of my TED Talk is Netflix uses AI to give you better programming to watch. So if Netflix can use AI to give you better movies, why can't we use AI to give you better education?
Good point. Good point.
Right? So, let's start thinking about how we can harness the ideas of the younger generations. They're not stupid people. We're not training them for the world where you have every piece of knowledge in your hand. We're like, okay, you should memorize all the presidents in order. Why? Hey, Google, tell me the 37th president of the United States, and it will tell me. Come on, we're past that now.
It's funny because I was with my daughter the other night, and she was doing homework, and we're stuck on a math problem. So she takes her phone and she scans the problem, right? Scans the problem, and it works it out for her on a screen. And I said, "What is that?" She goes, "Oh, Dad, this is great." I said, "But how do you know?" And I think that she's missing the piece that she doesn't understand how to solve it. She sees how to solve it.
And I think we still do need, how to solve it, and the problem solving, and how, what is the going on behind there? Because, ultimately we need mathematicians. We need people to go down there. But not every kid wants to be a mathematician. But yet we test every kid the same. If you're really passionate about art and fashion and not math, why are we all holding everybody to the same standard? Why don't we say, okay, why don't we do this? Take the math students and quiz them on fashion. Like, right. They're going to fail, of course, because they don't care about that. So why don't we, and the school systems were designed, to be, from kindergarten to university, they're designed as a factory of sorts, to just pump people through the exact same test, the exact same everything. And my TED Talk talks about this a bit. It's really, we need personalized everything. We need personalized medicine to keep you healthy. We need personalized education to excel you through the upcoming changes in the workforce. We need personalized transportation. We don't need 1 billion cars driving around. We could probably get away with 100 million cars to serve everybody. If you drive down a highway, any busy highway, you usually have a lane, kind of a high occupancy lane, and you can fly. You're driving, 100 mile an hour down the lane. Everybody else is at a standstill. Well, you got 4 lanes of traffic with 1 person per car. These are problems we can solve immediately. Like,
right.
Anyway, I go on a tangent.
So, because we kind of did go on a tangent, I didn't get a chance to I introduced you and then we kind of started talking, which was totally cool. But I'm interested for people who don't know what you do now at MetaVRse. If you I kind of want to talk a little bit about what you do, what you're doing, and kind of talk about that ecosphere for a little bit.
Sure. So MetaVRse, we started MetaVRse to be, my original business plan was to be the Deloitte of VR and AR. So we wanted to be the trusted resource for consulting and not just, because a lot of companies, they'll consult, but then they won't do anything. They just, here's your report, and they walk away. Mm-hmm. We decided, well, we can do all of it. So we would consult with a company and then build what they want. And so in doing that, we've done, over 100 projects for different companies. We've worked with different industries such as mining, food service. We've done, marketing, sales, training, VR training, AR menus. We've done all sorts of things. And the reason why we did such a broad range of things was to figure out what are the problems that everybody's going to run into that aren't solved yet. And I was trying to find 1 or 2 products that would be the products that we would build. And what I realized about 2 years ago, we were doing a project, a web AR project for a client. And first of all, web AR was very hard then. It's still hard now. But we ran into the problem of file management for spatial computing. How do you deal with these giant 3D files? And then how do you deal with them in VR versus AR? Because they're different. You can use the same files, but they're not the same. The phones are all different. And then, how do you put it out to HoloLens, which is a different format, it's an FBX format, versus Facebook, which is a GLTF or GLB format, versus VR where you're using OBJs. So file management at scale for retailers is really what we're aiming for. And in doing that, we're actually introducing a number of different products. The first product that we're introducing is called PrintXR, and it'll be launched in June. And it'll be an AR authoring tool for the printing industry, printing, media, publishing, and education, to be able to add AR to any printed material. So if you want to add a video to your magazine to get some extra content, this is what we've created. And so we'll be launching that in June at AWE. So that's exciting. And then the other 2 products that we have are Floorcast, which is a flooring visualizer. You can take your phone out and you can scan around the floor. I wonder if I can do a demo. Let me see here.
Actually, no, I think Will did a demo on LinkedIn, didn't he?
Yeah. So the demos are on there. But anyway, you can see what your new floor is going to look like in real time, and it automatically calculates the square footage and all that. The third product is GeoCast, which is a AR navigation tool that allows you to, like Google's AR navigation. Well, they stole the UX from us. So, yeah. Thanks, Google.
What I can do, because we're not live, is I can actually find that clip. If we can find that clip, I can put that clip just so people can see kind of what's going. I'll put it right into the interview now. So let's go to the clip. I always wanted to see that. Hey, let me ask you a question. You talked about the scanning capability where you can add AR, and I think there's a lot of benefits. I'm going to talk about one that I know you're going to know what I'm talking about, but in sales brochures, in Charlie Fink's book MetaVRse, which was really cool. But
actually, in his new book Convergence, and that comes out, I think he's launching it South by Southwest. Actually, his new book Convergence.
He is, and you know who else is in that book?
I know, I saw it.
Yeah,
and
but the one of the things for the resume is you on LinkedIn. You had a few weeks ago. You had a debate about the guy looking for a job, and and he created this AR resume. And I'll put that link in here too, because you got to see it. What he did was mind blowing.
So fast forward to now, I had a call with him last week or the week before, and he came to me and said, "Look, I have 5 job offers, and 2 of them I'm really considering. One of them was with an AR company, and the other one was with a company that wants to, build an AR strategy." And, his resume was mind-blowing. It got the last time I checked, it was over 150,000 views on my LinkedIn. So he thought outside the box, did something completely different. But why aren't other people using AR and print? It's a natural extension. You point your phone to an image and it comes to life. So the problem that we saw is that doing that is really hard. It requires somebody with AR experience, or somebody with Unity experience, or somebody with coding or programming. Where PrintXR, which is our new product that we're releasing, we designed it for everyone. If you're in a marketing department, you want to add AR, done. It's 3 clicks and you're done. We designed it so that in under 5 minutes, anybody with 0 experience could build an AR activation. So I think that's kind of step 1 of the democratization, is we got to stop building this stuff for coders. We got to build it for everybody, everyday people. So,
as a side note, you're definitely not in the business of placing candidates. I just want to make sure. I could just see you getting tons of resumes.
Hell no.
But
I wanted to hire that guy, but he's different skill sets. He's in IoT meets or Internet of Things meets AR. So,
that's interesting because it kind of segues into my next question. So you and I are in the industry. You more so than me. I'm on the marketing side. You are really on the product development side. And when you and I speak, or you speak to a large audience, everybody's on the same page. We're cheering each other on, and we're all, yes, we're going to buy in. Here's the problem that I see from the customer point of view is they don't get it, right? They don't know the difference between AR and VR.
Yep.
They don't know, and the boss may say, "Hey, let's start researching, glasses, smart glasses," right? Yep. They don't have a use case. Yep. If they do have a use case, they really try to they look at the product first and then try to get the problem to fit.
And the problem with bringing in a so-called expert is that the so-called experts work for a company, and their whole modus operandi is to promote that one product to you. We took a different approach. We do a thing called the Art of the Possible workshop, where we come into companies. We try to now. We used to do every industry from mining to food service. We try to focus on retail, print, and marketing now. But really, what we do is we have a completely platform agnostic presentation. We present what is VR AR, what is foveated rendering, what is spatial computing, what is a pixel versus a voxel, the basics of understanding what are the different headsets, what is AR glasses versus mixed reality glasses, all of these things, the different, what AR on your phone? What are the different platforms like Blipper, Layar, and PrintXR, these types of things, and really leveling the playing field for the stakeholders in the room. Here's everything you need to know to make a better buying decision. And then the second part of the presentation is here's what other people are doing in your industry. Third part of the presentation is here, try it all. Here's the North glasses. Here's AR with a phone. Here's VR with a headset. Here's all the different ways you can use it in your field. And then the afternoon is usually reserved for a whiteboard session where now that you've seen, you've learned all the technology, you've seen what others are doing, you've tried it, how can it be used for you? And we just write down as many ideas as possible. And you should see some of the ideas that come up, stuff that we would never think of as a consulting firm because we don't know their business. We know the technology, we know who does what and how to do it quickly, but we don't know their business. So the ideas that come out of those workshops, usually they create about 100 ideas. And from there, everybody gets a vote, and it usually ends up being 3 to 5 really great ideas. And from those 5 great ideas, we scope a couple of them, and we say, okay, here's a 1, 3, 5-year plan strategy, and here's the ones you can do right away. And the ones you can do right away, here's the from least expense and least what's the minimum we can spend to test our theories that this will work. And it's really the agile approach. And once we do that and we figure out what works for you, because we don't know either. Nobody really knows. And if they tell you they know, they're guessing, or they've really struck on something like Upskill, for example. They have great data. They've found the product market fit, and then they raised, I think, $100 million or something. So there are companies that have found that product market fit, but a lot of them are still guessing. And these workshops are about the art of the possible. What is possible when we put this together? I'm going to take 2 seconds to plug in my computer because I just realized yesterday it failed at 30%. So I'm at.
Oh, that's nice. Excellent.
I'm back. All right.
All right. Nobody will ever know. And we're back. So let me ask you a question. We have all that. A few. Are you familiar with the AR in Action conference? Area AR.
Oh yeah. The area, the enterprise. Mark. Yeah, Marc Sage. There we go. Sorry. Yes, I am familiar with them.
So a few weeks ago, when we, last month in January, I did a talk. It was at MIT. It was a conference for AR in Action. It was with all these kind of thought leaders. And when I was getting ready to go on stage to do a talk, I decided to do a talk on simplicity because I think that we in the industry have really complicated the hell out of this. We've sold a lot of sexy, right? I mean, you got elephants and dinosaurs.
Have over-marketed the crap out of VR and AR. We have literally over-marketed the crap out of it, and we're stuck in this ongoing what do you call it? Echo chamber. Where VR is great, VR is great, VR is great, VR is great, and we all get it. VR and AR is great. It's amazing. However, if you don't leave the echo chamber, when you go to enterprise, you realize that nobody even knows or cares about it at all. Like, go ask 100 people in the street if they've tried VR. 99 of them will say no.
And you're absolutely right. And what was funny was when they were getting ready to introduce me, he said, "So what are you talking about?" Now you got to remember, I'm on the stage with people from Google and Microsoft and like all these big companies. I said, "Well, I'm going to talk about simplicity," and I get this look like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I'm going to talk about
simple."
I said, I'm going to talk about simplifying our message. I said, because it gets lost, it gets convoluted. And I said, we create great devices. I said, but the problem is that the people that are going to buy these, they're not on this page. They're not on this page.
They don't buy devices, they buy solutions. And, this morning, the president of the university here did a talk and for these young kids. And, it was really, it was interesting to hear him speak about problem solving, and it's less about you can build products and try to find a solution, or you can see a problem and try to solve it. And companies that solve problems are successful. Ones who build products and don't have a solution, don't have a problem they're solving, and it's like, I got this really cool widget and try to sell it. That's not the right way to do it. And so we've been building widgets. We've been trying to make the tech work, which we finally do. Now the tech works. Now what can we do with it? So,
I think that's a problem in the industry. is that because nobody focus, we have devices that will fix the problem, but again, you're not selling a solution, you're not selling a benefit, you're selling, we've been selling features, right?
Yep.
Nobody cares about the processor that you're using, and they care about the solution. And you guys, what you guys are doing, are creating really cool solutions, especially that we talked about a minute ago, how he's just walking around with the floor. You also did something too, which was really cool. You created a project he create like a project management app where he can hold his phone. Talk about that a little bit. This is really cool use of AR. We're talking about simplification. We were talking about simplification of project management if you had like a big call center. So.
Yeah. So we just did it as a quick test in our CTO. We give him a bunch of new tech, and he gets excited, and he took the Magic Leap, which does positional tracking. It does, you can know where you are in 3D space. So what he did was he assigned a beacon or a point to each employee. And what he did was he took our project management software and put it above each person's head. So he, with the glasses on, he can walk through our office and see exactly what they're working on at any given time. And imagine if you extrapolate that out to a large venue like a huge call center, and you have thousands of employees all working on things. What you could do is put on a pair of glasses, look out to the crowd, and all you're looking for is green, yellow, or red dots. And if you see a green dot, great, the employee's on pace, they're doing everything, there's no challenges. You see yellow, they're falling behind or something's not right. You see red, then you have to immediately go and take care of it. So you can easily triage tens of thousands of people just by simply looking out at them. And it's a more natural way of doing that. And then when you get closer to the person, then maybe it turns from a red dot to details about it. So the person's still on the phone. They don't even know you're standing there looking at them, but you're able to see all their information without looking at your phone, just with a pair of glasses. And so I think that's going to be a really, really big one. And it's something that, we're not in a position to bring that to market. We just made it as a proof of concept, but it's really, really cool.
Wouldn't you call that then augmented information as opposed to augmented reality?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I would just call it a heads-up display for productivity. I wouldn't even use the word augmented. It's just a heads-up display for productivity. I'm a manager of a call center. I manage 1,000 people. How do I possibly, I can look at spreadsheets all day long, but that dehumanizes. You're looking at numbers versus people, and being able to look at the people and walk around, and you can be on the floor helping people without staring at your spreadsheet all day. And that really, let's break it down. Technology is here to serve us, the people, not the other way around. We do not serve technology. Technology serves us. And so everything that we build and do should be human-centric. And that really is what it comes down to.
So to transition to my next question, I watched a talk you gave called The World in 2038. And within the first 2 minutes, you showed a video of a person on a bus surrounded by all this information.
Hyper reality, it's called.
Oh my God. And it was scary to the point of I don't want that. And I'll put a link. You have to see this video because it was literally everywhere he looked, there was your credit score, there was she's single, Facebook.
It's literally what the world would look like if we had spatial computing glasses and then the world was our computer, if marketers were allowed to do whatever they wanted. That's what it came down to. It makes me very sick to think that could be our future, and I hope to God it isn't. But that's why I showed in that presentation, because that is a very real possibility of painting our world with data. And even Tom Emmerich, he's one of the kind of pioneers in the space. He runs the AWE conference and in Super Ventures and stuff. He does a talk called "Painting the World in Data." And data that's useful is great. Data that's hijacking our senses. We already have screens everywhere, but imagine when you can't escape the screens. They're literally part of your view. I don't know. It's going to get crazy.
I read somewhere that a human being receives about 34 gigabytes of data each week, just a massive amount of data. So how do you think we're going to kind of escape that Ready Player One, or that what we just talked about on that bus? With all this, we have so much information now. Just with our phone, right? And the amount of information we have available to us. Now we're putting it on and we're wearing it. How do we manage that? And who's responsible for managing that?
I don't know the answer to that. and I don't think anybody does. And I think, you know, the one thing we need to just do is work together to make best practices to avoid painting the world in data. I think we have to make sure that. I honestly don't know the answer, and it terrifies me, because if that's what our world is going to be like, if that's what wearing AR glasses is going to be like, when, you know, marketers have run of the world and everything is painted in this data everywhere I look is hijacking my senses, I'm moving up north to the mountains. Like, I don't want any part of it. And yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I have those North glasses. I've been wearing them, and, you know, my messages pop up, and that's annoying enough when your messages pop up in your eyes. You know, it's different than looking at a watch. When you look at the watch at your own leisure, when it pops up and, you know, as a notification, not of your choice, it just pops up. It's very annoying and very distracting. And I don't know. I actually sit on the IEEE Mixed Reality Ethics Committee, and, you know, these questions have come up. And we're trying to write ethics guidelines around creating these experiences to avoid that type of thing. But I don't know the answer. I think it comes down to, like anything, the world will just dictate what we do. If the market doesn't like it, they won't buy it.
Good point. I have two more questions for you, because I want to be courteous of you.
Well, hold on. One more. I just want to address that. If you had told somebody 50 years ago that all their family photos would be shared with the world, they would have freaked out on you. If you would have told somebody that the thermostat was listening to them, they would have freaked out. Now, it's not even a consideration. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Great. Send me more shit. Like, so who knows what we will be tolerant of in 20 years from now, 10 years from, 5 years from now.
If what we're going through now in terms of tolerance, we're not going to be a very tolerant group of people at all.
We were pretty tolerant of a lot of stuff. We have speakers in our home that are constantly listening to us. Our phones are always recording us, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We've given up all privacy. So if we've given up all privacy, and we think we have privacy, and, you know, there's the, you know, GRTDP or whatever the stupid thing is in the UK, those rules, the what is it, GPR, what is it?
GDRP.
GDRP. You know what that did? It just pissed everybody off. So every website you go to, you got to close out that window. That's what that did. It did nothing other than piss people off. Now they're finding people. It's a cash grab for governments. It does not serve the people. Everybody's still getting cookies on their website. We just know everybody's getting cookies. I already knew that, and most people already knew that. Now I got to close a box to tell you that I know that? That's so dumb. So governments aren't going to be able to regulate this. The people are just going to go with it like they always have. And so it's up to us, the people making this stuff, to be ethical in the way we do it.
You know, it's funny. I was on the train in Boston, and the train was full, but there was a guy kind of on he was holding like a unicycle, and he was kind of looked like he was trying to get on it. So anyways, I thought it was really cool. I went to take a picture, and this girl came up to me. She goes, "You need to delete that right now." I said, "Delete what?" She goes, "I don't want you taking pictures of me. I mean, you're invading my privacy." And I went, have you not looked around at the amount of cameras? There is no privacy anymore.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You know, delete that photo. I took a photo of a security guard at the airport. I just document my trips and stuff, and I took a picture, and he goes, "Did you just take a picture of me?" I said, "Yeah, I did, from an Instagram story." And he just, his face went from, "Did you take a picture of me?" to like, "Okay." Like, okay, I'm going to be on your Instagram story. I don't care. Like, what are you going to do about it? There's 1,000 cameras in any room you're in.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy world. I think it's only going to get. I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that companies are facing. I talked to the guys at Apprentice.io, and they have software that you can go into labs, and they're fixing solutions for secure environments and so forth. And I said, one of the biggest challenges I said, you're in a secure environment and you're putting these AR glasses on. I mean, it has to raise huge concerns. He goes, we solved all that. And I think that's what people don't realize is you can kind of geofence and you can kind of take corrective action prior to plan it. You can properly plan it so that if somebody is walking around with a camera, it's only filming certain areas of the establishment, right?
Yeah. There's cameras in everything now. I mean, cameras cost 13 cents to make. Like, there's cameras in everything. So I don't know, like to put it in perspective, the HoloLens 1 has 8 cameras in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 8. It's so the next race, in my opinion, is going to be Google, Apple, and Microsoft are going to be racing to collect the 3-dimensional cloud map of the world, the spatial cloud map of the world. And so right now, Google has arguably the most comprehensive map of the Earth in 3 dimensions and 2 dimensions, from satellite imagery, the cars that drive around. They've got the most outside data, but they have no data about the inside world. But what it's going to be you're going to be running around with your phone chasing Pokemons or something, and as it's doing it, the depth sensing cameras on your phone are collecting all the point cloud data, and it'll be weird. It'll take you to really, weird places in a mall or in a building or an office, and you'll be alone in this room, and you'll be chasing them like this up and down, and you don't know why you're always going up and down with these things. But what it's doing is point cloud mapping the entire world for these companies, because the only way to do it at scale is to crowdsource it. So Apple, Google, and Microsoft are going to be in a race to point cloud map the world.
You mentioned Pokemon Go, and I like to relate Pokemon Go to really the catalyst next to Google Glass for really bringing awareness. And I had somebody tell me that's what they brought up. They're like, is that Pokemon Go thing? And I'm like, no, we're not.
Yes, it is Pokemon Go, and they made $1 billion last year from a video game. So imagine what you could do with the same technology in your corporation.
I needed you on that sales call, right?
Yeah, yes, it's exactly like Pokemon Go. Don't you want something that viral that went from to 50 million users in 19 days?
Well, here's what they said, though, and this was interesting. They said, I don't like grown adults driving all over the place, stopping in the middle of traffic, going into the park, trying to catch these Pokemon. And that was their mindset. That was her experience with AR.
Pokemon, and here's another stat you can give somebody like that. Pokemon Go is the #1 global health benefit to the world. They have created, through the app, something, it's like 250 million miles that people have walked wearing the app, and that was like years ago, so I don't know what it is now, but they have managed to make people walk millions and millions, hundreds of millions of miles. So think about that. They got people off the couch. So if you don't like grown adults chasing Pokemons, shut the hell up. Stay in your house and don't leave. That's fine. But, why do you care what other people do? First of all, because I'll be honest, and I tell my kids this, you know what other people are thinking about you? Nothing. Zero.
Nothing.
They're not thinking you. They're thinking about themselves, because that's really what people do. They think about themselves and their own problems. Nobody's ever thinking about you. And once you figure that out, you're going to be a lot more successful in life, because you just focus on your own thing, help other people. But nobody's worried about what you're wearing. They don't care at all, unless you're not wearing anything, in which case, you'll stand out.
That's why I like Google Maps. Sometimes you can always catch a little Easter egg when you're looking at Google Maps, right? Hey, so really the last question, Alan. This has been a great interview. I'm always interested in how people get to the next level in their careers. I used to be a pastry chef. I believe your partner and your wife worked in hospitality, and you were a biologist or a
biologist, yeah.
And so we've all kind of transitioned into this space. I could tell you how a pastry chef got here, but how does a biologist, right? How does somebody like you get from there?
I'll take you through the path in a very short amount of time. So I graduated university with a molecular biology degree. I didn't want to work in a lab. I did that. I hated it. And so I became a pharmaceutical rep. And then I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it opened my eyes to business ownership versus working for somebody. And I started a medical billing company. That failed because I didn't utilize technology. I did it paper-based because it was 20 years ago. And then I had a series of different companies, always trying to find that thing. And I had we did a nutraceutical company. We did I always had a DJ company. I was a DJ right through the beginning. So even in university, I DJ'd, and that was always my backup. So if something failed, it didn't matter because I was still DJing on the weekends, making more money than most people. So I always had this DJ company. Then we did an AV company, and then I saw this big, huge see-through touchscreen called Emulator. If you Google Emulator DJ, we made this thing, got to work with the biggest artists in the world, got invited to Curiosity Camp, which is a camp put on by Eric Schmidt from Google. I got to go there. It's 150 people, entrepreneurs, tech investors, that type of thing. had great conversations, and I got to try the Oculus Rift DK1 in 2014. Put on this thing, I looked around, I was like, this is the future of human communication. I didn't even think that was really cool. Most people are like, oh, that's cool, it's good for gaming. I was like, this is how the future of human communication will be done. And knowing that, I was like, I'm all in on that. And I sold my company, got into this, and got into VR when there was no VR. Personally, I got in a little too early. I've had to kind of pave the way, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody. But now is a perfect time to get into VR and AR if you're not already in it. Now is the perfect time because the world is ready for it. They weren't ready for it. We did AR menus 3.5 years ago. They were mind blowing, and nobody would buy it. And so it's funny. I'm going to the restaurants show. We just invested in a startup that's doing augmented reality menus, and so 3-dimensional food products, so you can see what your Uber Eats meal is going to look like. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to the Restaurants Canada show, and now they're ready for that. And so timing is everything with this. Oculus just happened to be perfectly timed for the Facebook acquisition, and that Facebook acquisition for $2 billion for Oculus, I can tell you, without that, we wouldn't have modern day VR because nobody would have put any money into it. That was the catalyst that made everybody go, whoa, what's this AR, VR? What's this VR thing? Why did Facebook just pay $2 billion for this stupid headset? So that's the path to get here.
Did you have a cool DJ name?
Pseudosonic. It means fake sound. And I actually got rid of it because nobody could spell it. It's PSEUD. So, yeah.
Alan Smitson, he's the CEO of MetaVRse. He's an all-around a thought leader in the world of AR, VR. I'm going to put some links. I'll put some links in the notes. This is going to go on YouTube and in our channel, and I'm going to promote it. I'm sure if you promote it, I will get a ton of hits.
I'll put it on LinkedIn for sure. And feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I recently reached the cap of LinkedIn. There's a cap of 30,000 people that you can connect with. I had no idea. So I've got like this. I don't know what to do with. I've had 500 people add me in the last week. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to maybe start a second account, and so I'll be able to add more people.
It must be nice to be popular.
It's a lot of work. I wake up every morning. I post stuff, and I've got a catalog of stuff that I'm post. I've got a backlog, but every morning it's like I have my coffee, I post my post for the day, and then I can start with my day. But yeah,
where do you get all your stuff at? Because you have, you really have some really cool stuff. Where are you curating this at?
Because I'm so connected on LinkedIn, people send me stuff all day, every day. So I get startups. I had one this morning send me their pitch deck, and it was mind blowing, and I can't wait to share it. I'm talking with them next week. I get access to, AR and VR startups long before anybody will ever see them. I go to university incubators. I travel around. When I was in Switzerland, I had a client meeting, and then the next day we spent the whole day going around to the old Vaunt office. Intel Vaunt has an office in Switzerland. We went there, and now it's Magic Leap. We went to another lab where they're making these amazing new glasses, and actually, you guys should just acquire them because they're amazing. They created real focal depth in AR, like a real light field, like a real proper light field. It's in the prototype stage, but pretty awesome. So I get to see some things long before other people will see them. And, I have the added benefit of having client conversations on one hand and then startup conversations on the other, and being able to kind of see what clients are looking for and what startups are making and make those connections. So I'm very blessed for that.
Alan, I appreciate your time. Very, very gracious. Thank you so much.